Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodhanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajkaracharya Shrotar Tata Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajkaracharya Shrotar Tata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Tulasi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Kaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo All Glory to the Samadhavoti Hare Krishna All Glory to the Samadhavoti Hare Krishna All glories to the Samadhavatis, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nasta Presho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing today to look at Srimad Bhagavatam. Read Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya every day. We, on the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, study the Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we're looking at the third canto, which is entitled The Status Quo. And we are in chapter number 9, which is Brahma's prayers for creative energy. And today we will look at text number 6. Tavad bhayam dravina deha surin nimitam soka spriha paribhavo vipulas cha lobha tavan mameti asad avagraha arti mulam yavan na te nigrim abhayam pravritnita lokaha tavabhayam dravinadeha surin nimitam soka spriha paribhavo vipulascha lobaha tavan mam eti yasa avagra arti mulam Yavannate nigrim abhayam pavritnita loka. Tavad bhayam dravinade hasurin nimitam. Soka spriha paribhavo vipulas chalobaha. Tavan mameti yasa avagra arti mulam. Yavannate nigrim abhayam pavritnita loka. Tava bhayam dravinadeha surin nimitam. Soka spriha paribhavo vipulas chalobaha. Tavan mam eti yasa avagra arti mulam. Yavannate nigriham abhayam pravrinitaloka. Tavad bhayam dravinadeya surin nimitam. Soka spriha paribhavo vipulascha lobha. Mameti asa avagra arteti mulam. Yavanate nigim abhayam pravriniti oka. Tavad bhayam dravinadeha surin nimitam. Sola priya paribhavo vipulascha lobha. Arti Mulam Abhayam Pavariti no Khan. Like to try more? Tavad Bhayam Travinadheya Surin Nimitam So Kasmiha Paribhavo Vipulascha Lobha Tavan Mameti Yasa Avagraharti Mulam. Yavanate Nigihim Abhayam Priti Niloka. Mataji, would you like to try? Tavad Bhayam Dravinadheya Surin Nimitam Soka Spriha Peribhavo Vipulascha Lobha Tavan Mameti Yasa Avagraha Arti Mulam. Word for word. Tavat, until then. Bhayam, fear. Dravina, wealth. Deha, body. Surit, relatives. Nimitam, for the matter of. Shokaha, lamentation. Spriha, desire. Paribhavaha, paraphernalia. Vipulaha, very great. Cha, also. Lobaha, avarice. Tavat, up to that time. Mama, mine. Iti, thus. Asat, perishable. Avagraha, undertaking. Hartimulam, full of anxieties. Yavat, as long as. Na, do not. Te, your. Angrim abhayam, safe lotus feet. Pravrinita, take shelter. Lokaha, the people of the world. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai. Oh my Lord, the people of the world are embarrassed by all material anxieties. They are always afraid. They always try to protect wealth, body, and friends. They are filled with lamentation and unlawful desires and paraphernalia, and they avariceously base their undertakings on the perishable conceptions of my and mine. As long as they do not take shelter of your safe lotus feet, they are full of such anxieties. Purport. One may question how one can always think of the Lord in regard to his name, fame, quality, etc., if one is embarrassed by thoughts of family affairs. Everyone in the material world is full of thoughts about how to maintain his family, how to protect his wealth, how to keep pace with friends and relatives, etc. Thus, he is always in fear and lamentation, trying to keep up with the status quo. In answer to this question, this verse spoken by Brahma is very appropriate. A pure devotee of the Lord never thinks of himself as a proprietor of his home. He surrenders everything onto the supreme control of the Lord, and thus he has no fear for maintaining his family or protecting the interests of his family. Because of this surrender, he no longer has any attraction for wealth. Even if there is attraction for wealth, it is not for sense enjoyment, but for the service of the Lord. A pure devotee may be attracted to accumulating wealth just like an ordinary man, but the difference is that a devotee acquires money for the service of the Lord, whereas the ordinary man acquires money for his sense enjoyment. Thus, the acquisition of wealth by a devotee is not a source of anxieties, as is the case for a worldly man. And because a pure devotee accepts everything in the sense of serving the Lord, the poisonous teeth of accumulation of wealth are extracted. If a snake has its poison removed and bites a man, there is no fatal effect. Similarly, wealth accumulated in the cause of the Lord has no poisonous teeth, and the effect is not fatal. A pure devotee is never entangled in material worldly affairs, even though he may remain in the world like an ordinary man. Om Ankhyanatmirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chachurud Meditamyena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bhande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yudha Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Ragavatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sabaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shcha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namusate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhuttale Srimate Vaisheshikada Sarikari Namne Nama Prahasaya Shivaya Prabhuparanushaline Anititare Tasmi Shastra Bhajan Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhuttale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Ghoravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachanam Pankunangayati Girim Kripatam Hambande Shigrum Divatarana. So before I start speaking, I'd like to ask for the blessings of Chandrasekhar Maharaj and senior devotees here. I'm not qualified to be speaking before Maharaj, and somehow the Vaishnavas asked me to give class, so I'm just trying to follow in their orders. Hare Krishna. So we're continuing to hear Brahma's prayers for the creative energy. And throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see how prayers are very important. Actually, prayer is one of the limbs of devotional service. As we hear, Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Saktam, Atmanivedanam. Vandanam is a very important limb of devotional service. And we see Prabhupada set up such a system that pretty much from the time we wake up, we're requested to pray. You're waking up and there's prayers that you can say to Mother Earth. You can chant the pranam mantras of your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And then we come in for Mangalarti and we're chanting prayers to the spiritual master. Then we're chanting prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. Then we're chanting prayers to Tulsi Devi. And then we pick up our bead bag to chant our japa, praying to the Lord, Krishna, please engage me in your service. So we're constantly praying. Throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's many examples of the pure devotees showing different prayers and reciting different prayers. And is the mic available? Because maybe we can just remember some of those prayers now. If anybody can remember or say some great personalities who have amazing prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam. If you don't say in the mic, it doesn't count. So, so it's coming down. Give it to Mo.
Queen Kunti?
Yes, the prayers of Queen Kunti. These are very powerful prayers that happen right in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And King Kunti is put in a desperate position. And she's actually praying, I hope that these calamities will come again and again so that I can remember your fearless lotus feet. So praying to Krishna like that. So prayers can be made in times of desperation, as we were taught by Queen Kunti. Any other prayers? Anyone else remembers in the Bhagavatam?
The prayers of Brahma.
The prayers of Lord Brahma, yes. So here we're now in the prayers of Lord Brahma, and Brahma is praying for the creative energy. He's completely confused. What should I do? How am I gonna manage to create this whole universe? You know, what to speak of if we just get a cabinet from IKEA, it's so difficult to try to figure out how to put the screws in the right place and the shelves in the right place. What to speak of creating this whole universe? So you understand, Brahma was praying to Krishna, please guide me, please direct me. How would I do this? So that was, and Brahma has more prayers later on also in the Bhagavatam.
I was also thinking about Shiva in 4th canto of Bhagavatam. We have the song of Shiva. Shiva is actually praying.
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah. Vaishnava Namata Shambhu. So Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. So he's also leading us in very nice prayers there. Anyone else? Any prayers? Anyone remembers?
Like Prahlad Maharaj when Nrsingadev comes out.
Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj is very interesting prayers because Prahlad Maharaj was just a boy, 5 years old. But we see such beautiful prayers he recited, and all the other demigods were afraid, actually. Even Lakshmi was afraid. Nrsingadev, or my dear Lord Narayan, you've never shown this form before. Everyone was afraid to go to him. But we see that when he was touched by the conch shell, Prahlad Maharaj recited these beautiful prayers. He just started reciting these prayers to the Lord. Chandrasekhar Maharaj had
Also in the 5th canto, we find out that the area known as Jambudweep is divided into 9 varshas, and each of the residents in those 9 varshas have a worshipable deity and a main proponent or a main speaker. And they are all offering prayers to their particular version of the Lord. As Hari Varsha is where Prahlad is there, and he's offering prayers to Nrsingadev, and each other Varsha has another thing. So there's a whole group of prayers there, as well as we hear, you know, in the 10th canto, the prayers of the personified Vedas, where they offer various prayers to the Supreme Lord. And it's a huge chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just remembering, you brought up the Prahlad Maharaj praying, and that's when that famous prayer, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Jaste Jase Ave Ave Bhava Rajanaka Rajadamsha Kamasayan Randayan Randayan Tamograsa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Puyista Om Shrom. And hearing a lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he remembers when actually Prabhupada told the devotees they should remember this prayer. This was might have been 1973 in London at the Manor, where the temple president was writing this prayer he wrote it on the board, and he said all the devotees should remember this prayer. You know, as you're praying for Lord Nrsingadev to remove all material desires from the core of the heart. So we see throughout the Bhagavatam, I was just remembering also Dhruva Maharaj's prayers, where originally he was praying for something material, for a greater, he wanted a greater empire than even Lord Brahma. And Krishna fulfilled that desire. And then he realized once he got that desire fulfilled, that he says that I realized I was desiring this, but actually it's like pieces of broken glass that I'm praying for. But Krishna is so merciful that and Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that sometimes he'll fulfill the prayers of a devotee, but in such a way that they will never ask for that thing ever again. So I see Krishna is so merciful. So yeah, so this is, we see throughout the Bhagavatam how the different devotees are praying in different ways. And this is a symptom of the pure devotees, is that they're constantly glorifying the Lord. Because these prayers, when we hear them, they're glorification. My Lord, you're like this, you're the greatest, you are so beautiful. Like, and generally this is how the prayer goes. You remove all inauspiciousness. And this is the way the devotees are praying. And in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, Tatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha datavrataha namasyantastamam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. And this is describing the pure devotees, that they're always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So Lord Brahma, Kunti Maharani, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, they're great devotees, and they're glorifying the Lord, and they're praying to the Lord for his protection and for his guidance. And the Bhagavatam actually teaches us how we can perfect. It's teaching us how to perfect the different limbs of devotional service. So particularly this Vandanam, this prayer, is very much highlighted throughout as we're going through the Bhagavatam. Another thing is that Prabhupada said that it is good to remember these prayers and recite these prayers because we know Krishna has accepted these prayers. And there, as we're going through the Bhagavatam, the Krishna is appearing before these devotees, and then they're praying to Krishna. And we see Krishna's reciprocating with these different prayers. So it's a very good idea to also recite these prayers. And because we know Krishna has accepted these prayers, and therefore we can make that connection with Krishna by also following the footsteps of the great devotees. And then another thing is that we can make our own prayers, because this is also a part of exhibiting our devotion. We see when it's the Vyasa Puja of the spiritual master, we're meant to glorify and pray to the spiritual master. And we're supposed to do this. And Prabhupada taught his disciples to do this. And similarly, as grand disciples, we should also do this on appearance days, disappearance days of the great acharyas. We can pray, we can compose, we can write prayers and ask for their mercy to guide us, to give us the strength to push on this Krishna consciousness movement. Also, before the deities, we see Srila Prabhupada himself exhibiting this quality of praying to the deities. When Prabhupada one time was in Los Angeles, New Dwarka, one of his assistants, his name is slipping my mind now. Shrutakirti Prabhu was with Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was standing before the deities of Rukmini Dwarkadish, and he offered his obeisances, came in with Shrutakirti Prabhu, and then Prabhupada was standing, with his hands folded, and Shrutakirti noticed that tears were coming from Prabhupada's eyes, and he was just standing in front of the Rukmini Dwarkadish praying. And then later on, Shrutakirti Prabhu, actually Prabhupada, you were standing in front of Rukmini Dwarkadish, and I saw that tears were coming from your eyes. What were you praying for? And he says, I was praying to Krishna to please protect me from falling down. So we see, even Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee, praying in this way. So that, at least for myself, I know I should be begging Krishna to please protect me from falling down. And another time, Prabhupada, we hear Prabhupada so many times, but one time this particularly comes to mind also is when Srila Prabhupada went to Australia. And there were brand new devotees, and Prabhupada performed an initiation. And he was giving first initiation to people who had just walked into the temple for the first time that day, giving second initiation to people, who had just been around for 1 week. And then he looked at the deities and he said, Krishna, I'm leaving you in the hands of these children, basically. You guide them, please take care of them. He's praying to the deities. And Prabhupada, when he came back the next year, he saw the deity worship was going on very nicely. So you see, he understands Krishna is a person. So we should go before the deity Radha Govinda. We should go before them and reveal our mind. Of course, Krishna is in the heart, so he already knows what problems we're going through. He already knows what shortcomings we have, everything that's there. But us coming before the deity and making the prayer and asking the Lord for his help, asking for his intervention in our life, is an act of devotion, because it's showing that we have faith in the Lord and we have faith that he is the supreme controller, and that he, actually by taking shelter of him, will actually be taken care of, as Lord Brahma is doing here. He's taking shelter of the Lord. Please guide me, please direct me. What am I going to do? This world is I don't see anything. Well, how am I supposed to manifest this whole universal creation? So whatever, problems in comparison we may be having, maybe whatever it may be, we can go to Krishna. Krishna knows everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadi Adi Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He is the cause of all causes, and he is the origin of everything. Aham Sarvasya Prabhavat Matar Samam Pipartante Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Bhuta Bhavan Samamita. He is the source of all spiritual and material energies. So therefore, Krishna can solve all problems. Even the biggest problem that we may think is insurmountable, for Krishna, it's nothing. And so we should go to him. Not that we sit idly either, but we make some endeavor on our end. We make some plans. We make to fix problems, or we make some plans to expand the preaching. And then we understand it's by Krishna's mercy only that these things will be carried out. But also we should be prepared to see, or to have our eyes open to witness Krishna's magic. Like Yamuna would say, Krishna magic. Yamuna Mataji, Yamuna Devi Dasi would say, observe this Krishna magic, because also Krishna will do things things may happen in such a way that we didn't even think or were planning. But we can just let Krishna do his thing. And he assists the spiritual master, assist Srila Prabhupada, and assist Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in expanding this Sankirtan movement. So that is one thing that's being pointed out here, is the different prayers. And now the other thing I noted in this verse, in purport, particularly Prabhupada here, was in the second part, mentioning about wealth for the sake of the Lord, and not taking shelter of this perishable conception of my and mine, but understanding that everything is Krishna's and is meant for Krishna's service. So in the progression of devotional service, especially in spreading the Sankirtan movement, money is needed. And then that's just a fact. This is the world we live in, and money makes the world go round, as they say. And for so many things, money is needed, for preaching events, for building the temple, for fixing the temple. Just recently, we had a contractor come and take a look at what it would cost to fix all the bathrooms in the temple. And when the quote came back, we practically fainted. $1.1 million was the quote. $1.2 million to replace all the bathrooms, brand new bathrooms in the temple. Only the bathrooms. I don't know if they were making putting golden toilets or something. I don't know exactly what they had planned, but $1.2 million. Now that's a lot of money. And it isn't that we just say, okay, it's just going to happen because it's going to happen. No. Managers in the Krishna conscious movement were given this responsibility. And Srila Prabhupada himself was always considering how to move this money here, how to move this money there. We see Prabhupada had huge projects that cost, we can say millions of dollars. Juhu Temple, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj has written a book, the story of Juhu, how we built the temple. And you see so much struggle they went through for acquiring money, acquiring permits, acquiring material. Similarly in Vrindavan, similarly Mayapur, currently the TOVP construction is going on, $100 million temple. Do we think these managers and these devotees who are heading up, they're not thinking about how to acquire money, how we're going to get this money? Of course they're thinking this way. And this is spiritual, actually. This is also Krishna Katha. When they're talking about which cement we're going to use for the temple room, which marble we're going to get, which, glass we'll get for putting in the windows. This is all Krishna Katha because now it's related to Krishna's temple and things being used in Krishna's service. So in that sense, when a devotee is thinking of money in that regard, then this is actually a spiritual activity. This is devotional service. Not that one may be thinking, my neighbor has a Ferrari, therefore I have to get a Ferrari also, just so I can, fit in on this block. No, this is for sense gratification, Prabhupada is saying here. But we think, how can we get this for Krishna? And then even a devotee, when they do have their own home or their own apartment or their own whatever, they think this is Krishna's. This is Krishna's house. You go into a devotee's home, and generally what you'll see is you go into the living room and you'll see deities of Krishna or a picture of Krishna, altar set up. And they say, this is Krishna's house. Whatever they make in the house, they bring it to Krishna first. I'm offering this to you, my Lord. And like this, we can think this is Krishna's house. And we can maintain it in such a way with that consciousness. But if we think this is for me, then that's sense gratification. If we think one for Krishna, or if I think one for Krishna, one for me, two for me, none for Krishna, this is sense gratification. It's all for Krishna. Everything is Krishna's. We're just, Krishna's just given it to us on loan. But we see that when we offer to the Lord, we get benefit. Because regardless, we have to eat to maintain these bodies. We need some clothing to maintain these bodies. We need a place. We need a place to lay our head. We need some heat. But when we're offering everything to Krishna, actually, we get benefit from this. I remember when I was younger, I must have been in first grade, and my mother gave me $1 for at school, there was like a gift sale going on. You can buy little trinkets and stuff. So she gave me $1 to buy something. And so I went to the sale and I saw a ring. It was a 25-cent ring and it had a nice stone on it. And I bought that ring for my mother. I bought her the 25-cent ring. I brought it home to her. And I said, Mom, look, this is what I bought you. I bought you this with the $1. And she was so happy. She wore that ring for years. And even after the stone fell out multiple times, she would crazy glue it back on. And just see, this is a mundane example, of course, but just see how appreciative she was that I went and got her a 25-cent ring with the same money that she gave me. So similarly, Krishna is providing everything for us. And when we take whatever we have and use it in Krishna's service, He's so grateful, so appreciative of that little act. He doesn't need whatever we have to offer him. No, but if we do it, Krishna's Bhavagrahi Janardana. He's taking that love. He wants the love, actually. That's the one thing Krishna wants from everyone. He wants everyone's love. So therefore, whatever we have, in whatever capacity, whether we're a millionaire or whether we're a penniless, person, if we just offer that to Krishna, we can perfect our lives. And in regard to this wealth, accumulating wealth, Srila Prabhupada did say, I have hatched a transcendental plot for getting money. And Prabhupada so much emphasized on this book distribution as a means to acquire funds for expanding the Krishna conscious movement, building temples and the different projects we may have. And I just wanted to share with you all a couple of letters where Prabhupada was pointing this idea out. This is a letter in 1970, November 30th, to Karandar Prabhu, who was one of Prabhupada's best managers. Prabhupada very much appreciated the service that he did. He said, my Guru Maharaj used to say, don't worry about money. Do something nice for Krishna and money will come. So we should always be thinking how to distribute the message of Krishna, and surely he will give us facility. Even an ordinary man, if he wants publicity, then he gives so much money for the propaganda work. Similarly, Krishna is not poor. He can supply any amount for the devotees who are engaged in broadcasting his glories. And then another letter to Lalita Kumar, November 15th, 1971. Prabhupada said, if you simply push on this one activity of distributing my books, your all success will be there. I have hatched this transcendental plot for getting money by selling my books. And if we stick only to this plan and use our brains for selling books, there will be easily sufficient money. So different means and methods. Prabhupada also talked about having restaurants, life membership programs, and different means. But he always came back to this point, actually, the central focus of keep the book distribution going. The book distribution is one of the main means. So we can take that up, especially in this wealthy country of America. People literally have money falling out of their pockets, and they're just looking for who to give it to. So if we just go out there and hold some books in our hands, people will come and take. The more you show, the more you sell. There are 4 laws of book distribution. Number 1 is strong sadhana. Number 2 is get books. Number 3, the more you show, the more you sell. And number 4, you must organize. It doesn't take much endeavor. Prabhupada has already set up everything. There was one letter Prabhupada wrote to one disciple. Prabhupada said, I have left you so much. I have left you so much. Now you can at least try to maintain what I have given you. You cannot say I have not given you anything. Prabhupada has left us so many things. And so we can show our gratitude. Prabhupada every day would spend hours and hours translating these books. So we can show our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada even by trying to distribute just a little bit these books that he has given us, and by reading them as well. By reading and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, one can show gratitude for what Srila Prabhupada so painstakingly took this task to bring this knowledge to us. So that is the class. What I can draw out from this purport. Does anybody have any comments, questions, corrections, objections? Are we going to repair the bathrooms? He asked if we're going to repair the bathrooms. The bathrooms. Just now coming. It's already been done in the future. Now we're just waiting until when it manifests. Maybe we'll pray to Krishna to give us the intelligence how to do.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. Speaking about books and book distribution, can you share something? What gives you inspiration to go out and distribute books? Why you are going and why you feel satisfied doing it?
Well, I can say initially the drive, because there's different things. Initially, the drive was some external push. Ramroy Prabhu pushing me, the order of my spiritual master. He's instructing like this. You should distribute books. So that was initially that's needed. A little push from superior authority. Okay, you should distribute books, even if you don't understand why you're doing it. Okay, I'll go do it because it pleases them. And still, that's there. But then at a certain point comes a taste. You actually start to develop a taste. You actually start to feel Lord Chaitanya's mercy. You start to feel like, wow, this is the only thing that's saving this person from going to hell. This is the only thing. This knowledge is what's going to help this person perfect their lives. And even though I may not have that compassion yet, I understand that that's there. After reading the books myself, you read the books and you just think, this is nectar. I got to share this nectar. In the 11th canto, actually, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would sometimes have this verse pasted on top of where he slept. Labhasudhu labamidam bahusambhavante manusyam artadhamma nityam api hadira turnam yateta napatet anumrituyama nishrayasaya visaya kalutavatsya. And it mentions in this verse, Labhasudhu labamidam bahusambhavante, that this human form of life is very rare to obtain. And now the living entity has an opportunity for artadam, which means to achieve the greatest good, this love of Krishna, this greatest fortune. And they shouldn't simply utilize their lives in eating, sleeping, mating, defending like the animals, but they should utilize it for self-realization, for Krishna consciousness. So how else will people get Krishna consciousness if they don't get Prabhupada's books? How else? Unless the devotees go out and chant Hare Krishna, give them Krishna Prasadam, give them Krishna's books, Srila Prabhupada's books, how will they become Krishna conscious? It's not possible otherwise. So therefore, one starts to feel this weight of the parampara. The acharyas want this. Our spiritual masters want this to happen. So when one starts to feel a little bit of that, then also ultimately the desire to want to go out and do it also comes. So that keeps me, you can say, fired up. reading Prabhupada's books and constantly staying connected, hearing from my spiritual master. Because if we hear Prabhupada's lectures, we hear from our spiritual masters, we'll see, and they'll say, distribute books, chant Hare Krishna, bring people to Krishna, give people Krishna. So then at a certain point, we'll start to believe it. And then when we start to do it, we'll start to experience it for ourselves, that this is actually the greatest good, the greatest welfare work, and the highest pleasure we can experience in this material world. Engaging in the Sankirtan movement.
Did you try to organize here in New York this weekend warrior program that your Guru Maharaj is doing?
We tried MSFs. We do have to try to revive them again, because when it gets cold, even fired up devotees sometimes don't want to go out. So yeah, once the weather gets nice again, we will make a revival of the monthly Sankirtan festival. Yeah. Krishna willing. Okay, any other questions? No? Bhaktamo? You can get there.
Yeah, I was curious to know, going back to your prayers, maybe what is one prayer that you is kind of like your favorite?
Well, there's a lot of prayers. I do have a few favorite prayers I can share. I can share one. So this is Prithu Maharaj. Maybe two. I give two. So this is fourth canto, chapter 20, verse number 31. Prithu Maharaj prays. He says, 20, 31. Konmaya yadha janaisha kandito ya anya ashastar tatmano buddha yatacharet bhalamita pito swayam tata tamevarhasina samihitum. He says, my Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position. And out of ignorance, there are always desires for material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you, but as a father not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son, please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me.
And sorry, that was 4:30:21?
4:20:31.
4:20:31.
Yeah. And then another one from Prahlad Maharaj, 7:10:7. This is a famous one. Yadi dhasyasi me kaman varam stam varadhar sabha kamanam hritya samroham bhavatastu vrine varam. So this is Prahlad Maharaj praying to Nrsingadev. And he says, oh my Lord, best of the givers of benediction, if you at all want to bestow a desirable benediction upon me, then I pray from your lordship that within the core of my heart, there will be no material desires. 7:10:11 for anyone keeping score. 7:10:11.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Mo, can you give the mic to Maharaj?
Before we concluded, I just thought it might be interesting or good to focus on the fact that this chapter, we're in chapter 9. The first 5 verses have to do with the importance of accepting Krishna's lotus feet, the nectar of accepting Krishna's lotus feet. From this point on, from 6 to 10, we're hearing about those people who can't do it. So the verse you read starts it off. The verse I read was the last of the verse I read yesterday was the last of the part where we hear about the amazing mercy of Krishna's lotus feet. And then from this point till verse 10 of this chapter, we're going to hear about people who can't do it.
Jai. Thank you, Maharaj. Okay. Any other questions? Jimmy? Okay. Jimmy looks like he's about to fire one out. Let's see.
Yes,
Hopefully.
Prabhu. Are you going to come with us to Fulton today?
I will come with you to Fulton distribute books.
Yes, Prabhu. Let's go and distribute books. I'm thinking that lately my mind's been so crazy. I go to the platform and it's like, no. I'm like, oh, I must go. And I think, oh, I'm so crazy, Prabhu. I need you to get the sadhu and just cut that. Chop off the head of my demonic mentality.
I'm not
go out with a sort of shastra and chop off the heads of some demons out in the subway.
Well, I'm not a sadhu, but like Hariyashra Prabhu says, I'm a sad dude. But okay, so I will come out today. Thank you, Jimmy, for encouraging me.
Hare Krishna, thank you,
Dr. Jimmy. And then I do have a request for all of you. Please pray for me that I can develop pure devotional service in this life and faithfully serve my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada and Shri Radha Govinda. And I will do the same for you also. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.